I've been growing tomatoes since I was old enough to hold a trowel, and I'm going to be straight with you. I've made every single mistake you can make with a tomato plant. Overwatered them, underwatered them, planted them in the wrong spot, pruned them wrong, you name it. And the worst part is most of those mistakes cost me years of bad harvests before I figured out what I was doing wrong. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 tomato mistakes I wish someone had warned me about 40 years ago so you do not have to learn them the hard way like I did. And stick around for the bonus tip at the end, because it is a trick my grandfather used that practically guarantees healthier plants from day one. First up, and this is the one I see more than anything, is planting too early. I know the temptation. That first warm weekend in spring hits, and you're itching to get those transplants in the ground. But tomatoes do not want to go out until the soil temperature is consistently above 60 degrees, and nighttime air temperatures stay above 50. In most of USDA zones 5 through 8, that means mid-May at the earliest. If you plant too early, the roots sit in cold soil and do nothing. The plant stalls, turns purple, and you lose 2 or 3 weeks of growth you're never getting back. Patience pays off with tomatoes every single time. The second mistake is planting too shallow. Tomatoes are one of the few vegetables that should be buried deep. I'm talking about removing the bottom 2/3 of the leaves and burying the stem all the way up. Every bit of buried stem grows new roots, which means a stronger, more drought-resistant plant. Most folks just dig a hole the size of the pot and drop it in. That is leaving a massive advantage on the table. Varieties like Better Boy, Cherokee Purple, and Brandywine in zones 5 through 9 all benefit enormously from deep planting. Dig that hole a good 8 to 10 inches deep and bury that stem. Next on the list is overwatering, and this one is near and dear to my heart because I wasted years doing it wrong. Tomatoes want deep, infrequent watering, not a little sip every day. Water deeply once or twice a week so the moisture gets down to the root zone, about 6 to 8 inches deep. Daily shallow watering keeps the roots near the surface where they are weak and vulnerable. It also invites fungal disease faster than just about anything else you can do. Let the top inch of soil dry out between waterings and your tomatoes will thank you with better flavor and fewer problems. Overwatered tomatoes also produce bland, watery fruit. If you want the deep, rich tomato taste, you have got to let the plant work a little for its water. If you're getting something out of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week with honest, no-nonsense gardening advice. It is free, and it means you will not miss the next one. All right, let us get back to it. Coming in at number 4 is skipping the mulch. I cannot tell you how many tomato beds I see with bare soil baking in the sun. That is asking for trouble. A good 3 to 4 inch layer of straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips around your tomato plants keeps soil moisture even, suppresses weeds, and most importantly keeps soil from splashing up onto the lower leaves when it rains. That splash is how blight spreads. Mulch is free insurance against half the problems people complain about with tomatoes. My grandfather mulched his tomatoes with old hay every year without fail, and his plants stayed clean and healthy when everyone else's were covered in spots. Number 5 is not pruning suckers on indeterminate varieties. If you are growing indeterminate tomatoes like Big Beef, Sun Gold, or Early Girl in zones 4 through 9, those suckers that sprout in the crotch between the main stem and the branches will turn your plant into an overgrown jungle by midsummer. You end up with a tangled mess that has poor air circulation, more disease, and smaller fruit. Pinch those suckers off when they are small, about 2 to 3 inches long. You do not need to remove every single one, but keeping the plant to 2 or 3 main stems makes a world of difference in fruit size and plant health. Number 6 is ignoring calcium. Blossom end rot, that ugly black spot on the bottom of your tomatoes, is not a disease. It is a calcium uptake problem, and it is almost always caused by inconsistent watering. The calcium is usually in your soil already. The plant just cannot access it when the water supply is all over the place. Keep your watering consistent. Mulch to retain moisture, and you will rarely see blossom end rot again. Stop wasting money on calcium sprays. They are a band-aid on a watering problem. fix the watering, and you fix the rot. Number 7 is cramming plants too close together. Tomatoes need air circulation to stay healthy. I see folks planting them 18 inches apart and wondering why they have got fungal problems by July. Indeterminate varieties need a good 2 to 3 feet between plants, minimum. Determinates like Roma and Celebrity can get away with about 2 feet. Give them room to breathe, and you will spend a lot less time dealing with disease and a lot more time picking fruit. Number 8 is forgetting to rotate. Planting tomatoes in the same spot year after year is begging for soil-borne diseases like fusarium wilt and early blight to build up. Rotate your tomatoes to a different bed every year, and do not come back to the same spot for at least 3 years. If you only have one raised bed, at the very least replace or heavily amend the top several inches of soil each season. Rotation is boring advice, but it works, and skipping it will catch up with you eventually. I learned that lesson the hard way when I planted in the same raised bed 3 years running and lost half my crop to wilt. Do not make that same mistake. Number 9 is picking the wrong variety for your zone. This one drives me crazy. I see people in Zone 5 trying to grow long-season varieties that need 100 days of warm weather when their frost-free window is barely 120 days. That leaves no margin for error. Match the variety to your season length. In short season zones 4 and 5, go with Early Girl or Stupus. In zones 6 through 8, you have got room for Cherokee Purple and Mortgage Lifter. In zones 8 through 10, heat-tolerant varieties like Solar Fire and Phoenix do well when other tomatoes shut down. Pick the right variety, and you're halfway to a great harvest before you even put a seed in the ground. Last on the list, number 10, is harvesting too late. A lot of folks leave tomatoes on the vine until they're deep red and fully ripe, and then wonder why they have cracked fruit, bird damage, or mushy spots. Here's what actually works. Pick tomatoes at the breaker stage when they are just starting to show color, and let them finish ripening on the kitchen counter. They develop the same flavor, the same nutrition, and you lose far fewer fruit to cracking, pests, and rain damage. I resisted this for years because it felt wrong, but my grandfather was right. A tomato picked at the breaker stage and ripened indoors is every bit as good as one left on the vine, and you actually get to eat it instead of sharing it with the birds. Now, if you take nothing else from this video, remember this. My grandfather taught me to always bury a handful of crushed eggshells and a small scoop of aged compost in the bottom of every tomato planting hole. The eggshells break down slowly and provide a steady source of calcium right at the root zone, and the compost gives the young roots something rich to grow into during those critical first few weeks. It takes about 30 seconds per hole and costs you absolutely nothing. I have done it every single year for decades now, and my tomato plants establish faster and stronger than when I skip it. Plain and simple, it works, and that is the honest truth about growing better tomatoes. No fancy tricks, no gimmicks, just what actually works after 40 years of getting my hands dirty. If this helped you out, go ahead and subscribe. I put out new videos every week to help you grow better food. Take care, and I will catch you in the next one.